Good morning. I'm Lee McCracken. Paul, thanks very much for that introduction. I'd like to take this morning to introduce you to GenSignia. GenSignia is a microRNA focused company. This is a new class of biomarkers within the biotechnology life sciences arena, and we are developing a very interesting company that will have both diagnostics as well as therapeutics. GenSignia is based in London, headquartered here in London. We have laboratory operations in San Diego, California, and we have research that's come out of Milan, Italy. So we are a small but international company. To date, the company has been funded with about $20 million US of investment, and we have about 15 million of that in the bank. We're still a private company, and over the course of this year, our expectation we will float on AIM. Let me just also say, from a disclaimer point of view, we typically will go through the safe harbor statement, which I just flashed. As mentioned by Paul, the history of the company is actually quite interesting. Our founder chairman, Gabriele Sciarone, identified some very, very interesting technology and science out of Milan, Italy. Gabriele is from Italy and has had an incredibly successful track record in starting and building many biotech companies. And so he saw something that was quite interesting for the use in lung cancer, these microRNAs. That work was supported and funded by GenSignia. And then ultimately this year in January, there was a publication in the Journal of Clinical Oncology, arguably the leading publication of its kind, highlighting the work and the accomplishments of that research. What we now have is essentially the underpinnings of a product that will be used for the early detection of lung cancer, and our opportunity and mission is to bring that into the marketplace starting in 2015. We're describing the company as having a DXRX model. What does that mean? It actually means diagnostics and therapeutics as well. The immediate opportunity for the company is in the diagnostics arena and has already been described for the early detection of lung cancer. However, we also have the opportunity to build pharmaceutical products based on the same underlying work, research, and technology. So we actually have a subsequent business opportunity, but very much so our initial focus is on lung cancer in diagnostic business. Let me put the GenSignia test into perspective. So particularly in the United States right now, there is a paradigm shift occurring in the use of X-rays, which typically have been used for screening for lung cancer, to a new modality called spiral CT. Basically, as you can see from the graphic, this is a machine that you're put into. It evaluates your body, specifically the lungs, to detect whether there's a nodule or not. And the good news is that actually that approach versus X-ray is orders of magnitude better than the standard of care X-ray today. However, the challenge is that there are many, many false positives. And in some respects, it may not be that surprising. We're basically using imaging technology to detect something in the lungs, but it really doesn't tell you anything about the underlying biology of what's going on in your lungs. That's the purpose of the GenSignia test. We actually will take a sample of blood from a patient and determine, is that cancer real or is it a false positive? Quite important. One can imagine the fright, the concern of being diagnosed with lung cancer only to find out that it actually isn't the case. So one, understanding that is quite important. But from a cost and management of patient perspective, very, very important to really know that it's cancer before you start performing additional scans, working the patient up in other ways as well. So this is where the GenSignia test fits today, and our initial market will be the US. However, very importantly, this test also has the opportunity to be used for early detection of cancer without any imaging technology. Our expectation is that that product, early detection without any X-ray, without any spiral CT, is most likely to occur outside of the US because of the markets around the world that specifically will have an interest in using this test early in that evaluation paradigm. This is a graphical representation today of how we see our activities blossoming over time. As already mentioned, we will work initially in conjunction with standard of care in the United States. But as we look at the emerging markets around the world, whether it's Asia, Latin America, every market will be specific, and we will build partnerships with those companies, distributors, healthcare organizations that are interested in developing lung cancer screening products in their specific countries. So this is a very exciting opportunity for us. Arguably, the opportunity outside of the United States is going to be much larger. And so very much from the get-go, our perspective has been we want to build a company that has a global perspective. This is a massive problem around the world. And over the course of the balance of this century, I hate to say it, but more than 1 billion people will die of lung cancer. We're hoping to change those numbers by introducing the early detection of lung cancer. Finally, I'd like to say just 2 more things. The first of which is that the approach that we've taken, while it is going to be very important in lung cancer, the same underlying concepts for microRNA and using computational algorithms to figure out what's really going on biologically, we will also use in the exploration of other cancers as well. We actually have underway licensing activities associated with additional intellectual property that will allow us to do that. Beyond that, we also have a pharmaceutical opportunity, and we have the starting points for new drugs for lung cancer. And so this is not the major focus of the company today, but it actually will provide potentially a very big upside for everything that we're doing, and absolutely synergistic with all of the efforts and work that we're doing today. And so with that, I'd like to thank you for your time. We have just literally behind the seats here our booth. If you have any specific questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. In addition, we have these slides and some additional information on memory sticks, which you're more than welcome to take away. And I want to thank you for your attention. Really appreciate your interest.